What's up YouTube, it's your favorite owl here with the best 5 attachment class for the Fara 83. As most of you know, the Fara 83 was just released and there's a distinct lack of 5 attachment classes which needs to change now. There's no way that I can just let people run around without using the perk greed wildcard. Only 3 perks? That is not acceptable. We'll start off with some basic stats about the weapon, I'll make that quick. Then I'll show 3 classes. The last one being the most OP for my half run and gun playstyle. And then I'll finish off with some closing notes and recommendations about the Fara 83. The Fara 83 has a really quick rate of fire and it takes 5 shots to kill an enemy player at most ranges. The bullet velocity is already really good at 675 meters per second and the recoil pattern is extremely easy to control as it's mostly vertical with a slight lean over to the right. The main issues with the weapon are the aim down sight time, the sprint out time, the reload time, and the aiming down sight movement speed. All of these are really slow, so we'll have to compensate for that. Let's get to the class. I'm going to show you 3 classes total. Everything but the weapon attachments are always going to be the same, so let me start off by saying that I'm always going to be using the stim shot, I'm always going to be using the Semtex, the field mic, the perk greed wildcard, flak jacket, tactical mask, assassin, scavenger, ghost, and ninja. Aside from that, the actual weapon itself is going to be changing, the attachments. So now let's concentrate on what is going to be changing in between the 3 classes and you can pick which class you like best for your playstyle. The first class is going to be a more general class. This is more of a square class, kind of like that one SpongeBob episode where he gets an office job. It's a class that most people will be able to use and live with. We're going to start out with the Grew Suppressor to stay off the radar and help us out a little bit with the recoil. The Spetsnaz grip to also help us out with the horizontal recoil. The Grew Mag Clamp because the reload speed is really bad on this one. And we don't want to make our aim down sight time any worse than it already is. The Grew Elastic Wrap because we really need to concentrate on that aim down sight time. And the KGB Skeletal Stock because we need to make sure that we're mobile as we're aiming down sight. Now the second class is a little bit more interesting if you're as blind as me and you can control an okay amount of recoil. And maybe you just don't care about showing up on the minimap because you have some large rocks. Then you're going to be using the Microflex LED, make sure that you can see, because those iron sights, they're not for me. Oh, that rhymed. The Spetsnaz grip for the same reason as with the last setup. The 40 round speed mag because we really need to increase that reload time. And it will hurt our aim down sight time, but it's not going to be horrible. It's not going to be anything that we can't fix with the Grew Elastic Wrap. Speaking of the Grew Elastic Wrap, this is a staple. Then the KGB Skeletal Stock. We're going to be using the KGB Skeletal Stock just for about all of these because I felt like I was going way too slow overall whenever I didn't use the KGB Skeletal Stock. Also, it helps us out with our sprint out time, so it's a win-win. And lastly, the Owl approved setup, which is if you can't see and you never want to show up in the minimap, then we're going to continue on with the Microflex LED, the Grew Suppressor because I don't want to show up in the minimap, the 40 round speed mag, the Grew Elastic Wrap, and the KGB Skeletal Stock. I feel like this class compensates for just about every one of the letdowns of the weapon and only really contributes over to it. To summarize, there's a few things that really stood out to me while I was testing out all of these attachments for the Fara 83. It has manageable recoil with worse than usual handling stats and an iron sight that blocks out all of your peripheral vision. This meant that the standard 5 attachment classes would not work. While building the classes, I realized that trying to fix the handling and adding a sight was a struggle. This is the first gun that I ever used in Cold War multiplayer that has actually made me contemplate using the Gunfighter wildcard because of its weird stats. Perk greed is my crutch though, so I need to have flak jacket, tac mask, ghost, ninja. I can live without assassin and scavenger, but honestly this gun has a quick rate of fire so you might need scavenger. But as far as myself, I can't live without them. If you can live without having 6 perks, then you should definitely use the Gunfighter wildcard and slap the like button with a Spetsnaz grip, a bullet velocity barrel, and your favorite body attachment. Now go out there and use the Fara 83. It's really good, I could honestly rock it, but I wouldn't use it over the AK-47. I hope the video was helpful, I'll see you all in the next one.